I just made my bed in this room for the last time. What the fuck? I'm moving out of my first apartment and I am feeling a lot of things. Primarily, I'm faced with the fact that a lot of these things that I've always kind of described as when I'm older are starting to happen, and I don't document it the way that I've always envisioned I would document it, the way that my parents have documented their life and I guess my earlier life with these very beautiful home videos. So I thought it would be fun to do that, especially because I feel like I am hitting all of these big adult moments. And I guess that comes with the fact that I'm turning 25 in a month, but I'm feeling super overwhelmed and I would like to have documentation of that. So I'm not really sure what this is, but I wanted to start making my own home videos in a way that involved storytelling, something I could look back on, but also something that I can share. You know, when you are away and you start to almost build a life, a routine around this new space, and then the last day comes and you just can't wrap your head around the fact that this bed that you've been sleeping in, this room that you've been existing in and like coming to every single day, this place that you were calling home, you can't wrap your head around the fact that that's not going to be yours anymore. And I keep looking around this room and thinking, like, how is it possible that this room is never going to look this way ever again? It's not going to be mine anymore. And it's making me really sad. It's making me think about when I was 19 and I went to Florence to study Italian for a month. And I lived in this beautiful apartment with these 3 girls and we had a fucking blast. It was so fun. I'm just looking back on the routine that we had built. You know, your life just starts to orbit around this space. I don't know, I just remember that last day coming and not knowing how to say goodbye to it. And obviously, like, the 2 years that I've spent in this apartment are significantly more than 30 days in Italy, but I don't know, as I'm wrapping this up into a memory, I can't help but feel like when I'm 80 years old, I'm gonna look back on that month I spent in Italy and the 2 years I spent in this apartment and have that time feel almost identical in length. Kind of like when you look back on relationships you've had in your teenagehood and how like the 1 month long relationship versus the 1.5 year one almost starts to just like feel the same in length just because of the way that they impacted you in your life. That's kind of how I'm like feeling about this. Like, that 1 month in Italy was my first time being away from family for so long and really getting to come up with my own routine. These 2 years here were my first time getting to really build a home. Now I'm taking it down. Another thing is that I'm leaving a place that I've lived with my best friend, and I'm moving into a space that I'm also going to share with another best friend who also happens to be the love of my life. And I'm realizing that I'm hitting a last, you know, like this is the last person I'm hoping to live with. Like, this is the person I want to live with forever. I guess it's just making me rethink the way I view lasts, because it's always kind of had this really negative connotation to it. It's causing this dissonance because I'm so excited about it, but it's a last. And anyway, I think something else that's freaking me out is just how much I grew here. I always say that the summer of 2016 is when I finally became a person. However, the summer of 2024 is when I finally started liking her. I just remember being 16, spent the entire summer watching these really annoying two kids getting paid $4 an hour, reading Into the Wild by the pool, and walking home miserable and just lying on the grass and looking up at the sky and going, I'm the only person who sees me. I was also very much struggling with an eating disorder, and I was like in the deep depths of it at the time. I'm now looking back on it, it wasn't that nobody saw me. It was just that I only saw me because I was so obsessed with how terrible I thought I was. And over the last like almost decade, of course that relationship ebbed and flowed, but it was only last summer that I like really dedicated myself to getting help. I went to therapy, I worked through it, I started really looking forward to going to the grocery store and drinking in the park with friends. I actually got to properly enjoy all these beautiful friends that I have because I was finally not so focused on myself. And I look out into this kitchen and I see this transformation that I truly never fathomed I would ever see. Like I thought that this was like my life. And as I'm taking down these pictures on the walls that kind of have framed this person that I've become, I just feel like the luckiest girl in the world that I get to take that transformation with me.
We're advancing. Look how much less there is. We're almost done.
I don't even know if I'm doing the right thing, but I'm unscrewing this. I don't think it's the right screwdriver head.
Okay, let me do it.
Girl.
My room is so empty.
I know in like 20 years when you watch this, I'm gonna gaslight you and be like, see, I did everything. But Jen actually did a lot, so
Thank you.
no problem.
Oh, she's flying away. Nighty night.
Good night.
Another thing that I learned while living here is how to spend time alone. It's a Saturday night and my plans fell through last minute, and I feel like 2 years ago me would have been a little bit panicked because I, like most people, have a fear of being the loser who stays at home on a Saturday night, but this is kind of awesome. I made myself some really good dinner, and then I headed over to my paint studio, and now I am painting with my thoughts. I'm painting over this really ugly painting that I had done for a class project, where you basically had to print out a selfie of yours, which was so embarrassing, showing up with a printout selfie. Anyway, and then everyone had to rip up their selfies, and then we went around the table and took pieces of other people's selfies, put them together. Anyway, and then you had to paint that, but like make it seamless and not look collagey. Needless to say, mine may kind of look like a horse. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, when I was living with my parents, I always had someone to talk to, and I was always talking to someone. So I kind of was never alone growing up. And when I moved out, that was the thing that hit me. I think it was the second night I had dinner alone for the first time. And it was just so weird sitting at a table by myself. And I didn't want to be like a baby and call my parents and cry, because I also didn't want them to be worried that I was having a hard time. That night was kind of miserable and I cried a lot. And then my roommate came back and we talked, and it was so fun and whatever, and I like, you know, felt better. And then the next morning I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh my god, am I gonna eat alone tonight? Like, is this what's gonna happen from now on? And then as time went on, I realized it's kind of nice being in silence and, you know, really having time to catch up with your thoughts. It's been really cool to have all of this extra time to just hang out with myself. I think also, to circle back to the thing I was talking about last week, on the road to really liking myself, a big chunk of that, besides the therapy, is attributed to all this alone time that I did get to have. Because when you're always doing things with other people, you don't really get to see yourself do something on your own. Like, yeah, duh. Sorry, follow me with this. We had a house party. At that house party, someone broke our toilet. That night, we like kind of all huddled together and fixed it temporarily. And a couple weeks later, my roommate leaves, and the thing that was the issue with the toilet, it came back. Basically, it just wouldn't stop flushing. Like, it was on constant flush mode. And I was alone and had to figure it out on my own. And so I did. Doing little things on your own, like, you kind of get to take all the credit for the thing being done. So I just started to like really see value in myself, and even those like smaller moments where I'm like, well, that was good. Like, you were able to figure that out. Good on you. You fixed the toilet. I don't know. Like, it wasn't that much of a fix, but like, I had to put my hand on a toilet. That being said, I wasn't alone that much besides Toilet Gate, and I am so grateful that I got to live in this space with my best friend.
That is great. Okay, I get what you're going for. What made you?
So what do you mean you want to So what made you want to divorce me?
I can't get behind the fact that you're a lesbian.
I was able to deal with the fact that you're gay.
Thank you. It's just one of the many ways you're stronger than me. What's your favorite thing about me in this apartment? Speaking of
About
me.
you in this apartment?
Yes.
When you
favorite, like-
take showers.
Because I sing.
Because you'd sing and I'd learn a new song.
So nice.
What was our biggest fight and how did we resolve it?
Our biggest fight was when we couldn't agree when to move out.
Yeah,
And
that was very traumatic.
that was like probably our only fight, and it lasted about 5 minutes because you came to my door crying. You were like, "You're right, we're gonna move out at the same time."
Yeah.
And then we didn't. But
What was the funniest like moment in this apartment?
I think it was when I think we were talking about you were really nervous about leaving your hair dryer, like your hair straightener plugged in all the time.
Uh-huh.
And I would catastrophize, and I would be like, whole
Oh
place in shambles, Mimi next door burnt to a crisp. And I don't know why, that was like, I think within the first month of us living here, and it was brought up on a regular basis.
Oh, did I leave anything on?
No.
And then I would think of Mimi burned to a crisp. Who had already moved out. I don't know if we like lost our minds laughing, but I think in the moment we had already lost our minds. And it was when we were studying for our David Bowie class. Like if I were to just like teleport at a random point, like it's 2075 and I teleport into 2023.
Yes, chill.
Just a random moment and it's you and you're like this with a paper stuck to your face and it says the next day.
I actually think one of the funniest things about having this apartment is thinking that we were the first people to listen to David Bowie and thinking that he was like indie. Like, do you guys know this song? It's like Life on Mars. It's like, yeah, we know this one. Like, what do you think you learned out of living together?
Ooh, that you can live with your best friend.
You absolutely can live with your best friend.
Yeah.
You actually should live with your best friend.
Yeah. What did you learn?
I think I learned that sometimes you think you really know someone, and then you spend so much time with them, and you realize that, like, you were right. I actually, like, really know them.
Yeah.
You know? It wasn't... I feel like there was barely any epiphanies that were had about each other when we were together, which is something that I was maybe, like, excited would happen. And then I realized, like, it's kind of like when we would play We're Not Really Strangers back in the day,
That's exactly how
which
I feel.
I had to pack today. And I've never found anything more covered with dust in my life, which is really a sign of, like, mental growth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful feeling to be like, I know her so well. I know what she likes. I know when she's moderately upset because I can just like read you like that.
Yeah.
I know when to give you space. I know when you want someone. And that's like the beauty of having a best friend.
Yeah.
And you know,
Okay. Let's close this out.
We finished it, but whatever. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Let's get it. Okay, there's so many outlets. Perfect.
Okay.
This is like such a comfy door. Okay, delivery will be today. Dude, this is.
Oh my god. That's so wild. I was not remembering this.
Oh,
right
right. Dude, this is.
This is
Okay,
crazy.
now we get what you want us to pay. It's terrible. This is
Oh,
so
this is
wacky. I love it.
Look at the ceiling. We got the hardwood ceiling.
This is a crazy toilet positioning. Yeah, no, I like it. Oh my god. Don't, I will. Let's go to the back.